Hope Channel, changing lives.
Hello and good evening, lovely viewers, and welcome back to the consulting room. It's been a long break and you're welcome to this new season. Best believe we are bringing you amazing content. The consulting room is where we bring you all the latest updates on health and we bring you all relevant health topics. The consulting room comes off every Monday from 8 to 9 p.m. live from the studios of Hope Channel, Ghana. You can also catch us on our YouTube and Facebook pages. I'm Dr. Nai Kanko Inin. There was a news item trending for over a month, and if you were in Ghana and you haven't heard about it, I'll be quite surprised. I'm sure everyone heard about the Akosombo Dam spillage, which started in September, and I hear it has ended temporarily. It caused a lot of people a lot of problems. It's estimated that over 26,000 people were affected. People lost their businesses, people have lost their homes, their schools, and various things. Tonight, we're going to talk about all this and every other thing in between. And with me in the studio, I have two special guests. They are not new to the consulting room, and they are going to help us digest this topic. So with me, I have Dr. Emmanuel Adapo, and he's a medical officer with the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the consulting room.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And also we have Dr. Monica Ogo, and she's a resident OBGYN with the Greater Accra Regional Hospital too, and also a PhD candidate. Dr. Ogo, you're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So we'll shortly get into this, but we'll go for a quick commercial break. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
There are people out there who need Jesus. The only way they are going to be touched is through the power of the gospel. Remember, you are the hands, mouth, and feet of Jesus Christ.
Let's do this together.
The Adventist Church, mission-driven purpose, and Hope Channel brings to you Living with Hope. 9 days of transformation and empowerment, starting on the 1st to 9th December 2023, 6:30 p.m. each night, live in all Seventh-day Adventist churches and also on Hope Channel and its social media handles. Share the word, tell a colleague, invite a friend. Living with Hope, 9 days of transformation and empowerment.
To the consulting room. As you listen into this discussion, we'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions or comments, you can send them in to our WhatsApp number or on our Facebook and YouTube channels. So doctors, you're welcome again.
Thank you.
And today we are discussing the Akosombo Dam spillage, the health implications and then the consequences. Maybe before we get into it, Doc, what was your first reaction when you heard about the spillage?
I was really shocked, especially when we saw on TV how the levels of water rose and displaced people all of a sudden, filled homes. And, you know, I was alarmed when I actually heard of the banana farm along the stretch, report of so many thousands of euros having been lost. and people were displaced,
Yeah.
and I knew that we were in for a disaster.
Dr. Ogo, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was quite disturbing. It was quite disturbing. I mean, thinking about all the possible consequences, I mean, to life, to property, health-wise, loss of productivity, education, access to facilities. Yeah, it was quite disturbing.
So you've mentioned a number of them, but specifically, let's look at nutrition. Let's start with nutrition. Food is life. How has the spillage affected nutrition for the people? Dr. Ogo, let me start with you.
Yeah, I mean, nutrition will be affected significantly, okay? I mean, first of all, I mean, let's go to basics. That area is, to the best of my knowledge, an agricultural area. At least I know that it's a farming area. People farm lots of foodstuff, and also I know that's one of the areas where tilapia is produced in Ghana. And I mean, personally, I have acquaintances who had tilapia farms in that area who have lost everything. Everything has been lost, okay? And also looking at the farms that have been destroyed. I mean, nutrition would definitely be affected. And even let's put aside the farms and foodstuffs that have been destroyed there. I mean, with the situation there, even getting access, okay, getting access to food, producers wanting to supply food, producers who supply food to that area. I mean, looking at the situation, that would be a challenge. Access to roads, you know. So, I mean, nutrition will significantly be affected. People are not in their comfort zones to be able to cook what they want, to be able to afford what they want. So, yeah, especially I'm thinking about my children and pregnant mothers. You know, that's my area. So, I'm really thinking about how these women are going to, I mean, cope with this distress, you see. So, I mean, there'll be a significant effect on nutrition, definitely.
Put any addition to that?
Well, she is a mother to child person, or a mother and child person. But the elderly and the vulnerable, people with disabilities, can you imagine the access lost, meaning that they will also not have access to food adequately enough to nourish them? And for those who have to depend on food for their medication, the loss of access to the food basically is one factor that will cause them to, you know, lose that opportunity to have access to the food. Now, they are an agrarian community. And therefore, usually they depend on what they produce. And once that has been lost, then they will have to wait for food or for the opportunity to come from donors to, you know, supplement their nutrition. For how long? And so this situation is, you know, a very dire one that we need to look into in terms of nutrition, in terms of property, in terms of even life. It's a situation that we need to look at critically.
And even looking at the nation as a whole, we are looking up to them to send us food, and now they have lost their food. So clearly it affects us as a nation also. And I'm just thinking about more nutrition numbers that might increase. So that's just one condition. But apart from more nutrition, what other diseases should we expect or could happen due to the spillage?
Okay, I would like to take them in sections. Okay, so I will start with the waterborne diseases. Okay, and with waterborne diseases, these are diseases that are usually as a result of taking in contaminated water. I mean, it could also be food. I mean, looking at the circumstances at hand. And some of these diseases could include typhoid fever, cholera, dysentery, Giardia, and also hepatitis A. So all these diseases could be waterborne diseases or even food from contaminated water or food, looking at the situation at hand. And also we'll move on to the water-washed diseases. These diseases are diseases as a result of poor hygiene.
Okay.
Yeah. So, or lack of proper sanitation. Yeah. And these include diseases like Shigella, scabies, and hookworm. So from poor sanitation, all these things could result. I mean, looking at debris that has been washed, I mean, graves that have been opened, dead bodies floating around, overcrowding. Yeah, all these situations could arise. And also we have the water-based diseases. Okay, and these are diseases that are primarily gotten from water. Examples are schistosomiasis and also guinea worm. Okay, looking at how the mode of transportation has been affected. People might have to travel through the water, and I mean they could be affected with some of these things. And also we have the water-related vector-borne diseases. Okay, these are diseases whereby their vectors breed on stagnant or polluted water. Examples of these are malaria, filariasis, yellow fever, and river blindness. Okay, so all these things are the diseases that we are talking about. And some of these could leave life permanent disabilities. So, I mean, we are talking about really serious issues here.
Yeah. Dr. Adapo, anything to add?
I think she has said everything. And because this is a community-based or yes, a community-based disaster. I will also look at it from the biological, the psychological, and the social aspect. Now, all these that she has already mentioned, the water-related, the water-washed, the water-based, and waterborne diseases, are the biological diseases that will result from that disaster that has happened. Now, these will need medical care to, as it were, either prevent them or to, prevent them or to stop them or to cure them, as we'll have. But you may never know. For schistosomiasis or even elephantiasis, filariasis, for instance, a mosquito may bite you and you will never know that that mosquito, even though it's Anopheles, you might be treating malaria, but it is also the vector for filariasis. And it will take a very long time to even manifest, you know. So you may not know that that is there until it starts manifesting. Now, the other things that will happen include, as the lack of access to hospitals have resulted, will mean that there will be increased complications of the already non-communicable diseases that people may have. For instance, diabetes, hypertension, and, you know, dovetailing in the fact that tomorrow is World Diabetes Day. This could be this is a source of worry, that people with diabetes who do not have access to their medications, medications could have been washed away, now they don't have access to the hospitals, they may be having complications of that disease. Hypertension, there may be hypertensive urgencies that could result from this disaster, and hypertensive emergencies where there is an organ damage. A stroke may happen, people may have heart attacks in the camps that they are. Now, the social aspects include the fact that people are now going to be overcrowded in the safe havens, in places that there is no proper hygiene that will be occurring, and therefore there will be this transmission of the already communicable diseases that people may have, the dysentery, the diarrheal diseases, cholera, and all the others. People who have malaria, now mosquitoes that are breeding in the area can have access, bite one person, and transmit from one to another. These are things that we have to take a critical look at.
And also with the overcrowding, These overcrowding places serve as also transmission sites for meningitis, cerebral meningitis, and also respiratory infections, pneumonia, flu. I mean, all these viral respiratory infections. So, yeah, all these are things that we could be dealing with
very, very soon. So this aspect we don't really consider a lot of times, mental health. How is this going to affect people's mental health, or how is it affecting them psychologically? Let me start with Dr. Adapo.
You know, I mean, it is not for, you know, it is not to be taken lightly that the WHO defines health as not the absence of disease or infirmity, but, you know, the social, the physical, the, you know, the psychological, and everything. Very important. The mental health of the people we usually take for granted. You know, people may become suicidal because of the magnitude of the things they have lost. And this is the time that we have to empathize with them. We have to, you know, bring in their significant others. We need to bring in social groups like, you know, what we are doing here, and getting people to go to them to make sure that they know that they can bounce back later. But if we leave them, you know, to their fate, then what is going to happen is they're going to be thinking of what they have lost. They're going to be thinking of how alone they are at this time without help coming from anywhere. And people may, you know, in the long term become mentally impaired. People may commit suicides. They may lose all the hope that they have and not bounce back. What they have lost, monies. You know, people keep monies in their rooms. All these things have been washed away, and that will affect their mental health if we do not send help to them.
That's how go.
Yeah, I would also, in addition to that area, I mean, there's loss of productivity, as I said. People who once got up in the morning, dressed up, went to work, are now sitting in one area that are not even familiar to them, just because they have lost their space where they are comfortable in. They might not be able to go to work anymore, and they just, you know, sometimes there is a kind of relief, or there's a kind of joy even doing what you love brings to you. Getting up in the morning, getting dressed, and going to work, and now you're not able to do that anymore. It comes with its own psychological impact. And there's also another area I want to speak on. At this time, sometimes the safety of children. When I talk about the safety of children, I'm not talking about maybe their let me just go straight to the point. Where there's a lot of chaos and children are out of their comfort zones, they are prone to abuse. Children are really prone to abuse at this time. Okay, and some of these abuses might go unpicked, and these children might end up suffering psychological consequences for a very long time. So these are some of the places that attention has to be
reports are even coming of such abuses that you're talking about. Some adolescents are being taken advantage of, and you know, because of their vulnerability, the people who seem to be benefactors take advantage of them and sexually abuse them, and this can leave some sears on their minds for a very, very long time if we don't send help early.
We have the PTSD setting in, the depressions, anxieties and things. I don't know if you have any idea if psychological help is available to these people.
Well, I learned from the MP because, I mean, we have a very good relation. The epicenter of the trouble, which is Mepe, happens to be in the North Tong constituency, where Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa is. He has contacted some psychologists who are stationed there. Actually, the Ghana Medical Association did a very good job by mobilizing the Volta branch of the Ghana Medical Association to go there with some medical assistance. But psychologists, clinical psychologists have to be dispatched early enough to augment the ones that have already been sent there by the Ghana Medical Association, because there are different strata of people. There are the children, there are the adolescents, there are the people of school-going age, and these will have different levels of psychological need that must be met. So,
whilst we are talking about clinical psychologists, what, apart from the clinical psychologists, what can families or individuals who are being affected with, let's say they are depressed or have these mental health issues, what can they do on their own to uplift themselves? Considering that there's no like psychological help at the moment, what can they do by themselves to uplift their spirits from these mental health issues, Dr. Ogo?
Yeah. So before I go there, I would like to say a very big well done and kudos to the Ghana Medical Association in that area for all the work they are doing, and also a very big kudos to all the NGOs, I mean, who are helping, who are supporting in every way that they can. Yeah, a very big well done to everybody who is doing their best to support in these very challenging times. Yeah, I mean, everybody has their coping mechanism. Yeah, everybody has ways in which they cope with circumstances and situations. Yeah, some decide to pray, some decide to read whatever they believe in. For Christians, the Bible. For Muslims, the Quran. I mean, for other religions, every religion has their book where they take comfort and solace from. Yeah. So, I mean, mostly, I know Ghana is a very largely religious country, So, I mean, people decide to take solace from their religion, others from, I mean, doing what they love to do best. So, I mean, everybody, and in fact, it might even surprise you that those who are even involved in the challenge might even be helping. Yeah, it might bring comfort to them. Yeah, so everybody has their different ways of coping. So I'll just say everybody knows how best they cope with circumstances. So they should just, I mean, if it's forming small groups to pray or to talk, to sing, I mean, however you feel works best for you. I mean, just go ahead, but just know that, I mean, there's hope at the end of the tunnel. There's hope.
It's hard for any addition.
Well, there are people who, this is the time that, you know, people who know their God will do exploits. I mean, that place is also a place of some level of traditional belief. I'm sure they are going to be very much depressed because many of the idols and things would have been washed away, and this is the time to, on the lighter side, for these to join with the Christians, the Muslims, the other people of the book who might have hope better because of, one, the faith they have in God to restore everything and give hope at the end. That, look, no matter what you believe in, find a group to join so that you do not find yourself being alone and doing something that would be adverse. Because this is temporary, and like Dr. Ogo said, there's hope at the end of the tunnel, and there's also light at the end of the tunnel. Who knows? This is the time that God is telling you that, well, you have lost who you deeply believe in at this time to one of the elements, but there is a higher being that you know, you have to believe in to restore everything.
So we know education is the key to the future. People have been out of school for so long. Their schools have been submerged. They have to leave where they've been schooling to other places. how is this going to affect them and then the nation even as a whole? Dr. Ogo.
Yeah. So you see, and the interesting thing is, school is affected in that area, but school is still ongoing in Ghana.
Yes. Yes.
You see, that's the sad thing.
Yeah.
So you are asking yourself, I mean, when things are restored, will they go back? But you see, it's a curriculum.
Yeah.
You see, the educational system is not pausing for those in Akosombo. So I really wish there could be a way. I hear they are having classrooms under trees, and yeah, I'm not sure how effective that is going, but I really hope and wish that the Ministry of Education will come urgently to their aid with maybe temporary structures, just so education can go on for these children who have been affected by this unfortunate incident.
Yeah, Dr. Adapo.
I would like to appeal to the telcos, for instance, and to Ministry of Communication, that this is the time we need to really use the digitization agenda to extend, virtual classrooms to these communities. They could be under trees, but they should be able to have access to the internet so that teachers teach them virtually, so that they don't lose on the curriculum. They don't lose on the syllabus. It's the covering of the syllabus. Some disasters happen, just like COVID came and made us know that we could have meetings virtually, we could still be productive and all that. We should capitalize on this to make sure it could be a pilot project. The distance learning could be a pilot project in this disaster to show that we can do a model of education that is virtual but still can produce results.
Yeah, very true. Thank you so much for this. It's an eye-opener to me, because there are some things I didn't even think of, the impact it's having on people, but this has been an eye-opener. So we've spoken about some diseases. I don't know if you maybe can shed some light on some of the symptoms that might be picked up for some of these waterborne, water-based diseases you've mentioned. Dr. Ogo, let me start with you.
Yeah, I mean, for the waterborne ones, most of them come with diarrhea, vomiting, sometimes fever, I mean, abdominal pain, and the longer it goes unpicked or untreated, the more severe the symptoms are. Yeah. So most of them, I mean, bouts of vomiting, diarrhea, fever, loss of appetite, abdominal pain, dizziness. Yeah, most of them come along those trends. And then for the ones that are due to sanitation, most of them come with skin infections. So you see rashes, that itches so bad. Sometimes it might be inflamed or not. Sometimes some of them can come as, they can begin to discharge, depending on what type it is. Yeah. So most of them present along these lines, yeah. And with the malaria, I mean, it's still the same thing, the headache, the fever, the vomiting, yeah. So most of them have similar presentations, yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Adapo, do you have anything to add?
No, these are the things you're going to pick with most of the diarrheal diseases. And the thing is, so the cycle will continue. Somebody who has diarrhea may be carrying the cysts of maybe a worm or something that, if it gets into a water body, which is also, the children that play around go there, will also pick it. Most of the, the worms like, schistosoma, for instance, once you get into the water, the first thing you see is if the miracidium penetrates the skin, then you begin to itch around the area. So a lot of this time, children who go into the water or wade in the water may immediately come out with itching of the skin, which might mean that the worm has penetrated the skin. And so those are the things that the doctors who are there should be picking up, so that we can, give them medications. There should be massive deworming going on around this time, especially for the children, because they will be playing around those areas. And we should begin to watch their food. The food they eat should be prepared under hygienic conditions. Most of the food should be warmed, because if you eat cold food, then you are likely to pick these typhoid, diseases, and even polio. We have almost eradicated polio in Ghana, but there's the likelihood, since it is fecal-oral, it is transmitted through the stool. Water may be contaminated with these, stool excrements. In fact, many of the KVIPs that have been washed, that have been submerged, it may not be due to somebody's unhygienic condition, but because the KVIPs have been washed, all the water is polluted with fecal material. And children will begin to, drink this, bathe in it and all that, and begin to have, abdominal. Some of the symptoms may be just a simple flu. And once these happen and they get close to another child, they cough or they sneeze into the atmosphere. All the other children also pick it and it spreads.
And also, I would say that as much as possible, transportation means should be provided, especially for the children, to move from one place to another over the water, because as they swim through the water in an attempt to move from one place to another, I mean, even things like ear infections, otitis media, otitis externa, which could also have dire consequences. So as much as possible, the children should be prevented, even adults too, not just the children, because adults could also be affected. And also with the makeshift shelters that has been provided, if possible, there should be, if possible, I know sometimes it can be difficult, especially when there's a large population that needs shelter, but if possible, there should be spacing a little bit, and then sanitation should be paid attention to prevent things like cerebrospinal meningitis, pneumonia, and all the other respiratory diseases from spreading across.
So you mentioned the respiratory diseases. Is it likely that there could be an outbreak of tuberculosis as well?
Possibly. High probability, because these things happen in overcrowded areas. They happen in overcrowded areas, so there's a very, very, very high probability.
So this has been very, very interesting. Would like to go for a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we'll get back into our conversation. Please do stay tuned.
There are people out there who need Jesus. The only way they are going to be touched is through the power of the gospel. Remember, you are the hands, mouth, and feet of Jesus Christ.
Let's do this together.
The Adventist Church, mission-driven purpose, and Hope Channel brings to you Living with Hope. 9 days of transformation and empowerment, starting on the 1st to 9th December 2023, 6:30 p.m. each night, live in all Seventh-day Adventist churches, and also on Hope Channel and its social media handles. Share the word, tell a colleague, invite a friend. Living with Hope, 9 days of transformation and empowerment.
Anyway, SDA Senior High School Aguna Ashanti 60 years. The Board of Governors, PTA, SDHH, all students, staff, steering committee and students have the greatest pleasure to invite you to this great day celebration team, Agasat 60, maintaining holistic education for leadership and nation building from the 7th to the 10th of December 2023. The 10th is the Grand Deba and then fundraising. Come, meet all students like Professor Kwejo Sebonsu, lecturer. The guest speaker for this celebration, Professor Dr. Daniel Bo, former Vice Chancellor, VVU, Kwejo Pepram Prechum, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Andy Apia Kubi, Member of Parliament, Asante Achem North Constituency, Chairman, Honorable Kwame Osei Prempe, the CEO, Goyle. Special guest of honor, His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Muhammadu Baumia, the Vice President of Ghana, Otumfo Seitu II, Asante Hine. Guest of honor, Nana Japa Ameyao, the second, Acting President, Aguna Traditional Council, Honorable Mavis Nkansa Buedu, Member of Parliament, Efija Setre East. Don't miss out. Tell a brother to tell another. See you there. Mapoma Nyamieni Kuye.
The consulting room. We are talking about the Akosombo Dam spillage, its impacts and its consequences. I believe you are learning a lot from this discussion. Dr. Ogo is the mother for the pregnant women and the children. So I'll bring this question to her first before I go to Dr. Adapu. The pregnant women are very vulnerable people. How is this going to have an impact on them?
Yes. So I was coming to that. I mean, we've spoken about the children, how this has impacted them. But one group that I wish attention will be paid specifically to are the pregnant women, because they are also another very vulnerable group of people. And with the pregnant women, we know that it's not just one person, at least two people. It could be more, two or more people, but at least two people. Yeah. So access to healthcare, access to antenatal services, access to delivery services, you know. And you see, if we don't take care, this is a time that there's going to be very high maternal mortality and even neonatal mortality also. Okay, so I wish specific attention will be paid to this very vulnerable group of people. Okay, like even if it's makeshift antenatal clinics, if trained health workers has to be sent to those places to expedite delivery, either vaginally, CS, like any means, just to decrease maternal and child mortality, in addition to the nutrition aspect that we already spoke about, and also to provide antenatal services for them.
That's adaptable.
It's very key that if we don't consider this, we will be having a high maternal mortality on our hands in that enclave at this time, because as we speak, the main primary health care services from all CHIPS compounds to the district hospital they have, which is Bato, have all been washed, have all been, you know, flooded. And therefore, we will need trained medical staff to have access to the pregnant woman. And I can see how this is dear to her heart. But we all studied antenatal care. It is not complete until we put a healthy baby into a happy home. Exactly. Right?
With a healthy mother.
Exactly. So antenatal care is incomplete until we put a healthy baby into a happy family, because that is what they expect. That's the 9 months of pregnancy it's to bring home a healthy mother and a happy baby, and a healthy baby into a happy family, integrating them into a happy family. So we need to do that. This is the time we should consider the universal health coverage. Very, very important. Making sure that we even the most vulnerable of the people will have access to health care irrespective of their ability to pay at the point of care.
Yeah.
So it's very important.
Yeah. So we've mentioned a lot of things, but as a nation, I know some people might say, oh, this is just a problem for them. But as a nation, how does it affect all of us? Dr. Adapo, let me start with you.
Well, look, this Akosombo Dam is on their land. They have given us their land for a hydroelectric power. So this is their sacrifice to nation building. And this is happening to them because if they refuse for the dam to be spilled, then the whole dam is going to break. And we are going to go back into load shedding. We are going to go back into complete lights out. So it is also our duty to go to their aid and help them so that they can come out early from this disaster and build back better whatever is left of their livelihood.
Yeah. Dr. Obo, any additions?
Yeah, we've already said this, that they are a large agricultural area. So areas that were supplied with produce will be lacking. Okay, just because of the large destruction of farmlands, and also, as I mentioned earlier, the tilapia nets have been washed away. So areas that were supplied initially from these areas, there'll be scarcity. And also, I mentioned earlier, loss of productivity. Okay, this affects the nation as a whole. This affects the nation as a whole. So it's not just an Akosombo problem. This is a national problem. And also, with this disaster, I mean, funds that has to be sent. I mean, is all from the national budget, so it affects the nation in a way.
Yeah.
People, I mean, businesses, people have to pay taxes. Without the business, the tax that we have projected for the year is lost, and that is going to put the whole nation into some kind of a drawback, because it is the tax that we use for the development of the whole nation. So if that area is lacking in bringing in the what they have to put in the kitty, then it's incomplete. The whole world will not be round without these people.
Yeah, so that's definitely a national issue. But what words do we have to say? What final words do we have to say to these people who have been affected? Any words of hope and encouragement or comfort to them?
I'll just say, let's keep hope alive. In this time, we can only depend on the three things that are the final things that will exist: hope, faith, and love. Right? We send our love to them by getting to them at the point of their need. And that's how we can demonstrate love. They are in need at this time. We show them empathy. We go there and encourage them. We can also tell them to have faith in the God that they have believed in and the God we all serve as a religious nation, so that they have hope. Once they have faith, then there is hope that there is a better tomorrow after this disaster, and they will come back better than they were when this disaster or before this disaster occurred.
Yeah. Dr. Obo.
Yeah, so I would like to just reach out to organizations. I know there are a lot of them who are supporting already, and as I said, a very big kudos to them. Others who are able, I mean, the medical fields, organization, telcos, as my little colleague has said, who are able to extend a helping hand be very much appreciated. And it seems like it's going to take a while for this to resolve. So there's a very long road ahead. So let's just keep the help coming, so these people will be able to get back on their feet.
Right. Thank you so much. We've learned a lot. I've learned a lot personally. I believe our viewers too have learned a lot. So we've said it all here, but there's still a lot to be done for these people who have been affected. No help is too small. If you can, and as much as possible, please support. You can send in your money, contributions, whatever you can do to help. I believe they'll appreciate it. So thank you so much for joining us today on the Consulting Room, and we hope to see you next week. Have a good night.